Hello everyone, welcome to the Jacksonville History Show, brought to you by the Jacksonville Historical Society and Comcast. I'm Harry Reagan. Later, you'll see a review of this year's Preservation Awards. But now we welcome Homer Humphries, former city councilman and author. Welcome to the Jacksonville History Show, Homer.
I appreciate you having me here.
And those two things tie in together, of course. You're an author of a book about consolidation.
Right.
And you were a member of the very first city council.
Right.
19-member city council.
Right.
And so kind of your reflections on what it was like before and after consolidation.
Well, as you know, in 1967, it was a culmination of a good many indictments of public officials, city and county. The school board was in total disarray. The school system was. The people here were just sick to death of both county and city government.
They were ready for a change.
They were ready for a change. And Claude Yates and Jack Daniel led the charge for the change, as my book says. I ran for the city council before consolidation, when Hans ran for mayor. There were nine people on the old council. I was one of them, and I supported consolidation, as did Sally Mathers, bless her heart.
Now, a lot of those council members did not, I guess.
The others, it was only Sally and I that did, as a matter of fact, that openly. And I don't think anybody, and I'm not accusing anybody that was on there of trying any shenanigans, but they just didn't come out in support. So consolidation passed by a whopping big amount. And I think the indictments, people getting prosecuted, people getting convicted, the citizen learned what had been going on.
So you were a member of the city council of the old government just before consolidation and ran for a seat on the new consolidated city council.
Well, you see, we took office June of '67, and consolidation referendum passed in August of '67. There had to be an election in October of '67.
So you no sooner got elected than you had to turn right around and run.
And I think there were a number of people that were opposed to consolidation because they'd just been elected in office. But I thought it was much more important for the city to make the change than for me to have 4 years in office.
So suddenly we had this big city. The city limits went out to the county line, and it became the biggest city geographically in the country.
Right.
And you had an opportunity to install a brand new government. It was exciting.
True, very much so. And there were a lot of inner political fights for different jobs. People had to be approved by the council when the mayor would appoint them. And the council sometimes disagreed with the mayor. They wanted somebody locally to fill a position. They had a favorite they wanted him to appoint. He didn't do that, so most all of the people he appointed were confirmed by the council.
Now, I'd be interested in your reflections 42 years later, how well it's working, what you would like to have done. That there were some compromises in establishing that government, I guess.
Right. Yes, there were, and particularly with the beaches in Baldwin.
Yeah. So what would you like to have had that did not happen?
Well, what happened was, after, maybe back up just a minute, we had no limit on terms, right?
Right.
And my approach to politics is, as a professional or a business person, to serve 4 years or maybe 8 years and leave, not to make a career of it. Now, there are exceptions to that. When consolidation came in, the first council was just a tremendous council. We had, I think we had 4 lawyers. We had Iam Sulzbacher, Wallace Covington, businessmen that were, really into everything. And after that first term, 9 of the 19 didn't run again. And that's the way I think it ought to be now. but it's not.
Well, we do have term limits now,
We got term limits,
even though
but
it was not part of the original.
But what happens is people serve a term on the city council, they go to the legislature, they serve there, they come back to the council.
So they're still career
They're
politicians.
career politicians.
Yeah.
And there are people that can handle that, and there are people that are good at it. But too many people, that becomes their primary source of income. And that bothers me.
What else? You mentioned Beaches and Baldwin. You would like to have seen them be a real part of the government instead of retaining their identity.
Right. But it was felt that the only way to have them support consolidation at all was to leave them with their own identity.
Because they voted for it.
They voted for it.
But then they voted to not be part of it.
That's correct. That's correct.
So to have their own towns and so forth.
And that's understandable. The one thing that I was afraid that we were going to be like Metro. And,
Dade County.
Dade County, and I didn't want any part of that. But when Claude Yates and Jack Daniel and those people got together and did the blueprint, and the legislature followed that blueprint, it turned out to be, to me, a magnificent thing for our community.
Would you have liked to have seen some of the constitutional offices, sheriff and election supervisor, be appointed rather than elected?
That is a difficult question to me. I think the sheriff has certain constitutional duties that may be his responsibility. And I think maybe the sheriff should be elected. I know that's contrary to a number of views. It was contrary to the view of the mayor at that time, Hands. He wanted to appoint the sheriff, and I think the study commission wanted it to be appointed. But as I say, the sheriff has a constitutional duty that to me it belongs to him, and he should be responsible to the people.
Let's talk a little about your book. You had the fun experience of going back and digging through your files and scrapbooks and so forth.
I did. I had. It was a real experience. It took me about 2 years and my son and my wife saved a lot of things. I saved a lot of things. My secretary on the city council when I was president saved a lot of things for me. So I had resources to write from. And I also made it a point to get copies from Dave McNamara, the city council secretary, of certain ballots that came off the tote board. Remember we would cast the ballot.
Sure.
And
you know, this organization, Historical Society, is interested in preserving that kind of historical information. And a lot of elected officials and other people in government aren't, they don't seem to get it in terms of doing that.
Well, I think that the preserving those, no one would have really paid attention to the fact that UNF is not an urban university on an 8-7 vote. They voted to put it outside.
Right.
And there were 3 people, well, see, there were 4 people. There's 19 on the council. The vote was 8-7, 15. I think that Linwood Roberts was not there. Earl Johnson was not there, Don McLean, and Sally Mathers. Now, I know that Sally...
So who knows how it would have turned out.
I know Sally and Earl would have voted for the urban, for downtown. I know that Don would have voted outside of downtown. Been 9-9, and Linwood Roberts would have been the swing vote. And I have no idea where Linwood would have gone in that one. Do you?
No. Well, that certainly was a big issue, the UNF.
Very.
And
the Channel 4 wrote a lot of editorials about it here in the book.
I was involved.
Did you write those?
I did, and we were on your side, I guess. We thought it should be a Georgia Tech kind of campus downtown.
No, I thought it'd be where it is.
We were opposed on that then, I guess.
Yeah, we were.
We did not want a University of Florida type, sprawling suburban type campus.
See, have you been to Tech?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have too many times, but Virginia would play them there. There's no room. They can't expand. They can't buy anything.
Yeah.
They don't have that kind of money. And where we are now, at 1,100 and some acres that we got for a bargain price of $682,000.
Well, we won't refight that battle because it's over. But Homer Humphries, thank you for being with us. The UNF and many other things are in this book, and people will certainly enjoy reading it. And we hope to have you back sometime and talk more about the early days of consolidation.
Thank you, Harry. Appreciate the invite. Thank you.
And stay with us for a review of this year's Preservation Awards.